Oh my God. I read the first comment of our video today and it says Ian thumbnail tips or unsubbing. Yes, today I will give you some thumbnail tips later on in the show. But what we're going to talk about primarily today on this Christmas Day, Merry Christmas, Happy Morning, is top 10 changes that are coming to the metaverse in 2022. I spent a lot of time the last couple of days kind of going through the internet and trying to sift through what's true, what's not true about the future of 2022 and the metaverse. And when I say the metaverse, I don't mean Facebook. I don't mean Meta. What I do mean is Web 3.0 and the metaverses that are going to come about within Web 3.0. So yeah, it's going to be a great show today. I'm just super excited because there are so many changes that you need to know about so that you can really increase your influence on the platform and also increase the marketing of your business. If you listen, not all this stuff is going to be actionable tomorrow, the 26th, or even on the 1st of the new year, but it's something you should be aware of and building to so that you can get the machinations in place to be able to utilize some of these strategies for yourself. Because the thing is, Jack Dorsey tweeted this last week, something about, how a lot of the corporate interests have invaded Web3 and the metaverse. And, just so you know, guys, it's not always cracked up to be. Totally get that. Totally understand. One of our items to discuss on our top 10 list of massive updates to the metaverse today is about that, is about corporate interests coming into the metaverse. While that is true, the metaverse and Web3 are also true. They are coming. So part of my discussion these last few months about the metaverse, Web3, crypto, NFTs, all these things is that I saw the writing on the wall and I was like, oh my gosh, having done so much reading and research, I'm like, what am I doing? Why are we focused on video platforms? Why are we focused on fair use and copyright in those platforms? And we're not focused about how we can structure our business, our online presence for Web3. What are the copyright issues there? What are the trademark issues there? What are the obstacles? How much is it going to cost? How much do we have to save up to be invested in this new atmosphere that is taking place online and in groups? And one of the biggest things that I learned in these past couple of months, listening to podcasts and of course doing written or reading research, was that this new world of Web3 is emphasizing community. You thought you had community when you had comments on your video. You thought you had community when you had 100 people or 1,000 people or 10,000 people on your email list. Oh, that's great. But think about when people are actively engaged in you, your brand, your business, but they put their money where their mouth is. And that's going to be the differential. People are going to be engaged in a different way. We saw a little bit of that when I did my video this last week on Wednesday, all about NFT utility tokens. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more today, but that's another way to gain this community. And this community is sticky. It's engaging. So anyway, enough about why Web3 is cool and why it's a certainty. And let's get into our top 10 metaverse updates for 2022, what you can expect in the next year. And let me switch over my screen here for a moment. The number 10 of the top 10 list is that I predict in 2022, all tickets will be NFTs. And I don't just mean movie tickets, concert tickets, but I mean event tickets. The reason why is it doesn't cost that much to add a substantial amount of value to an access item. In other words, we're used to physical paper tickets when we maybe go to the movies or something like that. Maybe some of us use a lot of times our phones as access items. But what if we could give you not only a digital access item, in other words, you can scan a QR code and then you can go into the movie theater, but also an item of value that memorializes that you were there, for how long maybe, that it's absolute proof that you were there, and that it entitles you because you were a community member at that moment in time to go to different events. It's amazing amount of value, and the leaders, the influencers now that I will say are well-funded are doing this. They are making sure that every access point has along with it added value. And what's so great about it too is that it makes you think, wow, for $36, I get to go to this comedy show and I get to memorialize that I saw Jim Gaffigan in person. And oh, by the way, I get the first round of ticket access to the next Jim Gaffigan show. Wow, that's cool. $36 gets me, it's almost like a lifetime pass. So what we saw, the reason why I have a picture of No Way Home, Spider-Man on the screen is because we saw just, I guess it's the most profitable movie of the year. I mean, it's $376 million. And they issued 86,000 Spider-Man NFTs when people went to the movie theater. In other words, you bought a ticket, it was scanned at the movie theater, and then you automatically got an email with a link that allowed you to get for free, or part of the ticket price, an NFT of Spider-Man. 86,000 of those were issued. I don't know the exact time period that it took to kind of exhaust the 86,000, but I think the president of the company said something like, hours those NFTs were gone. So these people not only got to watch the movie, have fun, eat popcorn and all those things, but they also got a Spider-Man NFT that maybe will have value, maybe won't, but it will be cool to have a digital collectible that comes with it. Back in the day, because I'm an old man, they had collectibles when you went to fast food restaurants. You might go to Burger King and get a free glass with your purchase of a burger. These days, they're converting it into the digital world, and you go to a movie and you're going to get a free NFT. And it doesn't cost that much more for these companies and these brands to create these NFTs. I mean, really, I've minted NFTs. I am not an artist. I'm the worst artist. And I got to tell you, it's easy. So if everyone who is a larger company is going to be issuing tickets as NFTs, then think about it for yourself. Do you have an online course? Are you going to have 10 people in your online course in 2022? Why not mint 10 NFTs that go along with this course, and it adds value to the ticket price or the access price. It also allows people to know you were there. It also maybe over time, you can build in additional features. Maybe these are the old school course attendees back in 2022, and I'm offering a special deal in 2027 for the 2022 people to come to this course for half price. Whatever it is, it's going to offer more value to your offerings to the public. So that's what's happening. It's going to happen. It's already happening. It happened with Matrix, the bad movie that came out a couple of days ago. Boy, I didn't even get through it all. I will tell you, I watched it at home. It's happening with obviously the Pulp Fiction thing that we talked about in previous lives. Various directors are issuing NFTs for old scenes of their movies. It's going to nothing but happen more. So get on board. All right. I want to say hi to some people who are here on a early Christmas morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Anthony Goodley, love to see you. Merry Christmas to you. We got Tanya Guerreri. So happy to catch you live. Tanya, thank you so much for joining us. I'm happy you're here. If you have questions as we go along on these top 10 Metaverse updates for 2022, please put them in the comment section. We also have Mr. Vigia. I'm so happy he's here. I got to tell you, Mr. Vigia has been there from the beginning. He is super educated and knowledgeable. He always makes these comments on my videos and my lives that are super educated. And it takes me always a moment to go, okay, what is he? Oh, wow. That's genius. So thank you, Mr. Vigia, for being here. Mismatched Sock. Morning, everyone. Merry Christmas to you. Dickie's here. Woo, I love Dickie. Dickie woke up on a early Christmas morning. And we have Ferdinand. Merry Christmas from the Philippines. Merry Christmas to you. I don't know what time it is there, but welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today. If you have a moment, because I want to make sure that this video goes to other people after, on the replay, give me a thumbs up on this video and let's pass it around. There aren't any other videos on this. I don't think you're going to see a lot about what are the new updates coming to the metaverse. And I got to tell you, the number one is something that you're going to want to stick around for. It is mind-blowing, changing. It's going to change the way we do so many things in the world. So I want you to stick around to number one. So let's get to number two. Actually, watch in this case, number 9, excuse me. Here we go. So the number 9 top update for 2022 to the metaverse is going to be that Meta, again, we're going to distinguish, Meta Platforms is the new holding company for Facebook, that they are going to attempt to centralize Web3 and the metaverse. one of the tenets of the metaverse and Web3 is decentralization. What does that mean? That means that there is no middleman between you and the other person. So it could be a friend of yours, you're paying back a debt, or it could be a company. There's nothing in between other than what we might see sometimes are fees in the transaction. And of course, gas, which is oftentimes the amount of money that is paid to validate your blockchain transaction. My wife will talk to me all the time. She goes, listen, decentralization is not that big a deal. You're still paying fees. Yes, that's true. But wait till I get to the number one, because that's changing in 2022. But anyway, Meta's going to try to centralize. What they've done in October, everyone kind of was talking, oh, it's cool. There's some new features. That's great that they're changing their name. Or maybe they're saying, everyone hates Facebook, so they're changing their name. No. What this was a move to more centralize the metaverse and Web3. How they're doing it is they're giving free access to their metaverse. So their main metaverse right now is Horizon Worlds, which is a VR experience. I recently did it. I'm actually making a video about it coming up, where you can go there for free and you can interact with people. Meta has actually hired trainers that walk around with you in this metaverse. You're wearing these goggles and you can talk to them. I talked to one for a period of time. I was asking him all these kind of deep questions about Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg and all these things. But anyway, that's another discussion. And so you get this free access. What's the other thing you do is you get free access to creation of your own worlds. You're allowed to create on the platform, create your own metaverse for free. And they've made it as easy as possible. You don't need to understand code. You can actually do it with shapes, drag and drop, create your own world. And some people have done it. There are a fair amount of verses on Horizon Worlds that you can come visit and talk to people. I will tell you, it's quite an experience. I want to talk more on a video about it because there's too much to cover. But it is interesting. You can overhear conversations. It feels like real day life, where you're walking around maybe a city and you're seeing people and you don't want to butt into their conversation at the same time you're in this weird world. But they've created this because what they've done is they want to make sure it's free, just like the original Facebook product, so that there's more adoption. More people are attracted to the features of this metaverse and don't pay attention to the fact that probably at some point in time, this is going to be monetized, maybe through ads, probably through ads, but also through Facebook's own currency that will be coming out. So just understand that while you and I are solid metaverse people, we believe in decentralization. It is it is one of the main values of Web3 and metaverse. There are people out there, corporations, that are going to try to centralize. They're going to try to attract the normies to come to their world for free to create and then be locked into that world, not want to go to the sandbox game, not want to go to Axie Infinity and all the other different worlds that are coming out now that are really awesome and are decentralized. So be aware of that fact. And I don't mean stay away from Horizon Worlds or Facebook or Meta. I just mean understand that that's the game. Back when we were starting, this social media area in 2003 or 2008 and on, we kind of didn't know what was going on. All this stuff could be offered for free. We'd gone through life and we were like, when something is free, there's something attached to it. But we went through these years where things were always offered for free. You could search on Google for free. All information was free. So that when it came out to social media and the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and all these Twitter and all these things, and it was for free, we're like, cool. We didn't realize that we were the product. Now we understand that when something is offered for free to us, we're the product. That's cool. If you go into Horizon Worlds knowing that you're the product or will be the product in 2 to 3 years, great, use it. But understand that there's a differentiation between that and the decentralized platforms like Decentraland and the Sandbox, where what they're doing, they're monetizing the experience by having you invest your money into items and land. And that's the connection. That's how they stay on board. So we're definitely going to see a lot more attempts by Meta to centralize this decentralized world. Joseph Wilson is here today. I am going all in at Upland. Oh, awesome. Have already partnered and are coming. It is a property beta version now, but the economy will be booming in the years to come. Well, I'll have to check that out. That's awesome. If you would leave a link how we get to Upland in the description in the comments. Thank you. All right, now we're going to move to a more controversial, fear-based, kind of more sad topic that's going to be happening next year. So get ready for it. And that is that, unfortunately, we're probably going to see more metaverse groping. I don't know if you saw in the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of stories about groping incidents in the horizon worlds of Meta. What does that mean? That means people approaching you in this meta world and, doing offensive touching, quote unquote. In other words, getting close to you. I had a whole discussion in the community tab posts of YouTube with people and also on Twitter about whether or not when someone approaches you in the virtual world and they put their hand right here and they're in your face, is that a groping incident? Is that a crime? Now, in the real world, despite what people have said on the line, which is, by the way, common law assault is the apprehension of offensive conduct. That's what we learn in law school. That's what we're tested on. It's clear. That's what assault means. It's very contradictory because you always think of assault as being a punch. Assault can be a punch, but at its minimal form, it is an apprehension of, and that is a common law crime. What does that mean? That means that in many states, if not all states, some variation of that definition is a crime. Now you import that into the virtual world, and if someone comes close to you, is in your personal space, maybe saying offensive words, that could be considered a assault in the virtual world. And so we've had a number of incidents in Horizon Worlds where that's taken place. Now, what Horizon Worlds has done, Meta's Metaverse right now, is they have a thing called a safe zone. And what you do is you put your arm like this up with palm out, and then there's this button, the safety button you press when you're in the virtual world, and it creates a dome over you and a protection. It mutes, it blocks anyone's touching, it pushes people out, and it gives you the opportunity to report that person. So you can protect yourself from that in the Horizon Worlds. But there's another part which I didn't really understand because I was kind of more firmly on the victim's part of this controversy. I was saying, listen, that sounds to me like a real world assault in the virtual world. So that could be something that really either could be a crime or there could be some punishment, banning from the platform or whatever. But then I actually delved deeper into the virtual reality world by, using the Oculus Quest 2 goggles more often. And I started to play a couple games. I played a Darth Vader game. And in this game, Stormtroopers, Darth Vader, they approach you and they get pretty close. And I will tell you, my skin crawled and I had some goosebumps. It was very weird. I felt weird about it. Now, what's interesting about the incident where I had in the Darth Vader game is that I didn't feel the need to throw off the goggles. Because, that's the resolution, right? Ultimately, it's just a game or it's just an experience on a stupid headset. You're actually not being touched. You're actually not, the person is not going to be in your personal space literally. But I will say that I started to feel something in this game. And what that led me to conclude is maybe it's not as big a deal as I once thought, because a lot of these games are kind of assaulting you. In other words, they're getting close to you. That's part of the experience, is to be scared or fearful, or maybe that provokes you to use your weapon or whatever it is. So a lot of people out there who are gamers are just kind of used to that context, especially if you're playing Fortnite all the time. You're going to have people in your personal space all the time. They're going to have guns. They're going to try to explode or shoot you or whatever. So for a lot of us who don't play all the time, it may be a little bit more disconcerting to go into this virtual world and have these experiences. But I think what we're going to see as we move forward into 2022 is more situations where people complain about groping, and we're going to actually confront the issue. Now, a couple things I want to talk about. I've spent a lot of time with the terms of service of Meta and the Horizon Worlds, Decentraland, and the Sandbox game. One of my first things is when I want to understand a product, a platform, is I go to the terms of service, read the privacy policies, just go through it. It's almost like an instructions for a game or something. I will say Horizon Worlds has a moderately sophisticated conduct policy, which bans harassment, bullying, hate speech, the typical things. It's not that long. I want to say a page and a half of these terms. It's the typical thing you see in a social media platform, but I will say that it's directed specifically at conduct. Now, if we move on to Decentraland or the Sandbox, their terms of service do not reference conduct. They reference content. And I'm going to say this, that with Facebook, they're going to definitely rely on the fact if there's another groping incident that they have terms of service. They actually have a safety tool in the VR itself that will prevent it or stop it or whatever. But Decentraland and the Sandbox do not right now. So what we're going to see is a lot more problems, I think, in those worlds. People are going to not be ready for this kind of apprehensive, maybe offensive situations, stalking, these kinds of things. They're going to be afraid. As I understand it now, and a lot of you guys out there who are big fans of the decentralized platforms will know, I'm not sure if there's a way to block. There's a way to block users, but there's not a way to block when you're actually in the world, when you're in Decentraland. So those features, those controversies are going to come about in 2022, I am certain. And the reason why I say it is just because that groping incident that took place on Horizon Worlds was in the press, was in the the online news for weeks. It was trending. So what happens when it moves to a different platform that more and more people start to use? So all I'm trying to say is, one, be aware of that kind of weirdness about being in this VR world. It's going to happen when you're in the AR world too. We're going to get to another item about AR coming down the list. But be aware of that. Be aware that a lot of times the games, the experiences are geared towards that kind of apprehensive, maybe a potential offensive touching. And then also be aware of the fact that this is going to be an ongoing controversy that may contribute to the devaluing of a platform. I could see there being a bad incident, and all of a sudden Mana goes down in price, the token for Decentraland. So just be aware of that lurking issue out there. Got some people online here. We have a Draxum Kutcher. Dreamcatcher, that's right. He was here last time. Sorry about that. I didn't know how to pronounce it. He's talking about, what about decentralized Meta? We went back to the prior item, and that just was that, one of the themes of the metaverse of Web3 is decentralization, no middlemen. In other words, these platforms have programming that exists on the blockchain that's independent of other companies, but more importantly, independent of governments. And so what Meta is going to be trying to do is trying to centralize that, trying to get as many users there so they hesitate before they want to go to other platforms. That's what I mean by that. We have How To Tech. They could make a comfort zone so people can't get closer than 6 feet from you in the virtual world. Absolutely, that could be taken. And that's what's kind of happening in Meta. I will say this, having done it before in the Horizon worlds, it's not as cool as you may think. It's not like it doesn't block everything. It doesn't block within 6 feet and all that kind of stuff. It just really is more of a reporting type tool. So they could definitely do a better job with that. And I think that on the platforms that are going to allow VR on them, they're going to have that same type of safe zone. I will say this, that it's weird because when I've been violated, so to speak, online, it's the first thought is not to push the button, the safe zone on your arm. The first thought is to get away. So you know what? I don't know I wonder if that's going to be an ongoing strategy to combat these assaults. I don't know. We got Yoke Tesla here. I love Yoke Tesla. Merry Christmas. Good morning. Bring the metaverse into court cases and use it to bring the jury into the scene of the crime. They could even simulate the crime and have them experience the replay of all angles. That's a really good point. I think in the future that's going to be the case. I think having been before juries as a practicing litigation lawyer and also a federal prosecutor, one of the problems with the jury is you can never get them to really perceive what actually happened. It's all documentary evidence. It's testimony. It begins to be a popularity contest. What if you were able to kind of create the circumstances based upon the evidence of the crime and have the jury relive it, so to speak, if they so choose? I bet you're going to have much more accurate applications of law as a result. So yes, Yoke Tesla, that is absolutely happening. It reminds me of the pre-crime from that old Tom Cruise movie. How To Tech says there will be virtual press eventually. I think so. I think with the days of parades and protests, I don't know if they're going to be gone or not based upon all these crazy viruses out there. So that could be that could be true. We could have people giving speeches, attending protests online. I having been on Fortnite and played Fortnite a lot, and also having been in these VR worlds a lot, I know that it's impactful. I feel when I went to a concert, I can't remember which concert it was, online, I think it was in Decentraland, I remember getting goosebumps at the music, and I was just in this virtual reality. So it legit can change emotions. It can change. So I agree. Rocky Tran is here. I'm Rocky Tran from Windsor, Ontario. Happy holidays. How are you doing, good man? Rocky, so good to have you. Thanks for joining us on Christmas. I know it's kind of an awkward time to have a live, but I do it on Saturdays at 8 a.m. So in between the kids opening gifts, I'm doing a live. So that's what we're doing. We also got Generic here. Good morning, Generic. Thank you. Give me a thumbs up when you get a chance, guys, if you remember. Can someone pick your pocket in the metaverse? Well, I don't know what's going to happen with that. You know, one of the things that you get in the metaverse is the ability to change your face, your facial expressions, but your hair and your eyes, and also you get to wear clothes. And then what's going to be happening now, you saw with the Adidas launch of their NFT, their shoes NFT, which are going to be wearable in the metaverse, they say. They're set up for interoperability between the different metaverses. I'm wondering if there will be people out there who will figure out a way to take your Adidas or your Nike NFTs and for themselves. And it brings us to this other concept. I mean, there's so much to talk about. I could just do this forever. Sorry. It brings us to this other concept, which is coming out. I want you to be familiar with this term, which is Code's Law. It looks like coleslaw, but it's with a D, Code's Law. And what that refers to is that's a defense to lots of what may be arguable as online crimes that are going on. So we're at this early stage of Webverse, of the Metaverse and Web 3.0. That's what I want you. That's why I want you here, and I want you listening so that you can really catch this wave. But we're at this early stage, and a lot of people aren't sophisticated. And so there are some sophisticated users that go into these worlds and are able to do some interesting and arguably fraudulent type conduct to be able to get a crypto or anything of value from other people. And what's happened is, I think it's in Canada right now, there's a case that just came out where some guy took $10 million in crypto, and his defense, and he put it on Twitter, is Code's Law, which is code is law. And what that means is I'm not the criminal. I'm not subject to the jurisdiction of Canada or United States or the Philippines. The code is the law. And so we're seeing a lot of this defense coming out. And the reason I bring this up to you is you're going to see this term pop up as a hashtag or whatever. And I want you to understand it. Code is law. So you'll see it in jokes. You'll see people saying, oh, you did this. You took my shirt, my digital shirt. Code's law. It's legal. I found a way to get it. So I don't know if they'll be pickpocketing, but I think that anything you see in the physical world, you can expect in the virtual world. People are people. It doesn't matter if they're digitally manifested or if they're physically manifested. So, all right, let's get back to it. Less on this groping. Let's do some more positive stuff. All right. Let's move on to item number 7 in our top 10 list of big metaverse changes for 2022. DAOs replace corps and SPACs. All right, that's a lot of acronyms. I'm sorry, but I was trying to fit it in this in this slide. Decentralized autonomous organizations. I want you to understand that acronym too. What does that mean? That is a creation of the blockchain. It is a group of human people that generally are on the blockchain that are autonomous. In other words, they are acting on behalf of that organization that they serve. How do they get to do that? They'll buy in and own a token, and this token will give them voting rights for the future of this organization. Now, it's akin to a lot of different business entities that us lawyers talk about and form for our clients on a day-to-day basis. It sounds like a corporation. It sounds like an LLC. But what we're going to start seeing more of in 2022 are more business entities, groups of people who want to do their business as a DAO as opposed to a corporation, or maybe they're going to do their investment business as a DAO as opposed to a special purpose acquisition company, which is a SPAC. The DAO is super malleable. I mean, it's almost like it can do anything. It's a bunch of humans on the blockchain that are autonomous, all right? That act for their own best interest. So what's great about these things is that it really adds some bit of democracy to businesses. It allows these businesses to function arguably outside of conventional law. It goes back to that the reason why I brought up the Code's Law concept is that that's really applicable in this DAO area. It's like I make the rules here. This is our universe. So we're not subject to the rules of China. We're not subject to the rules of Switzerland. Okay. We have our own independent DAO that exists on this blockchain. And we're starting to see a lot of different business organizations be formed as DAOs. Good example, Decentraland is a DAO. Okay. There are, I don't want to use the word owners. There are members with tokens that have voting rights as to the future for Decentraland. I don't know how much they cost, I'll have to look it up, but you as a person who wants to be part of the DAO can be for Decentraland. We have a lot of Sushi Swap, Uniswap, the exchanges are DAOs. I have a list here, so sorry to refer to my notes here, but there's, Super Rare and Rareable, the NFT exchanges, they're all DAOs. Dash, which is a cryptocurrency that I actually own, is a DAO. So a lot of people are moving to these DAOs because, one, they can kind of argue that it's more democratic, even though maybe behind the scenes it's not. I say it's a group of humans. It can be a group of corporations too that form a DAO. And then what's great about it is the voting rights, and I'm going to compare it to another item we're going to talk about in a minute, but it's almost like those NFT utility tokens, which I made a video about this week. If you want to check it out after this, I made it on Wednesday. It's all about something you need to understand if you want to be an influencer, a change maker, a community leader coming up. But it allows these community members who care about, who have stake in this community, to have some voting rights. So I think that's going to happen. I think we're also going to start seeing they're going to be investment corporations. They're going to be a bunch of people, let's say some people who have some crypto, that come together and they say, we're going to put our, 10 Bitcoin each into this fund, and then we're going to try to find another business entity, another DAO to merge with, and then create a larger company. So everything is being decentralized. We're moving away from the banking system. We're talking about DeFi, which is another awesome topic to talk about another day. And even business entities are being converted into decentralized organizations. So we're going to see a lot more of that. We got Coconut Pete joining us today. Coconut, good to see you. Coconut Pete was ever present in our last live because he designed the Ian Corzine Metaverse on Roblox. Just so you know, to kind of give you a basic background, you can create your own metaverse on these platforms like Axie Infinity and Decentraland and Sandbox and Roblox. And Coconut Pete is an expert in that. So if you ever need to have your own metaverse, let's say you have a brand, let's say you have a shoe brand or something like that, and you want to create Shoe Land on Decentraland, and maybe you buy a 1x1 parcel, and you want to have people be able to walk through and tour your latest models or whatever like that, why don't you go to Coconut Pete? He's on YouTube as Coconut Pete. There are links to Coconut Pete in the prior live. If you want to check that out, what we do is we actually take you on a tour of the Ian Corzine Metaverse. Get a coffee, get some Coke, check out my my yacht, and you can also get the links to his website, which is what is it? It's vid. I always forget about it. The link is in the description. I apologize, Coconut Pete. I forgot the link. All right, so let's move on to, and by the way, guys, if you can give me a thumbs up on this video, I would love it, because that way we can get this out to the people who are busy opening gifts on Christmas and they don't have time for this. No problem. They can watch the replay, but I want them to understand about these key 10 items so that they can get prepared for 2020. So it's time for a thumbs up. All right, let's move on. Let's keep this thing going, dude. All right, we're moving on to item number 6. Influencers are all going to have NFT utility tokens. And I have here an image of one of my favorite influencers of all time, Gary Vaynerchuk. The guy knows where attention is going. That's why he may be a billionaire, but he's certainly a multimillionaire many times over. And that's because he has this forethought. He's always looking to the future. That's his favorite thing. And so back in January of 2021, so this year, he's like, you know what? This NFT thing is kind of cool. And I like collectibles because he's a sports card guy in his hobby time. I'm going to look into this. And so lo and behold, this summer, he issued his own NFT project, which is called VFriends. You can look it up, vfriends.com. You can see the actual VFriends on OpenSea. And what's so good about VFriends? You're looking at a picture right here of Passionate Parrot. That is his drawing. I will tell you this. If I've met Gary Vaynerchuk in person, I don't know that I would say this to his face, but that's not the best drawing in the world. And that is an NFT that probably you would pay in the neighborhoods of $30,000 to $40,000 for. So you might be going, Ian, I don't give anything about a parrot, let alone Gary's version of a parrot. Why in the world would I buy this NFT? And the reason why you would is because it unlocks features that you don't have access to Gary's community, and it gives you status. If you would like to take an 8-minute journey about NFT utility tokens, and I'm a big proponent of them, watch my video from this last week, came out on Wednesday. And it's the things you need to know, the reasons why you should have your own NFT utility token. So what he does with VFriends is you not only own the NFT, but you also get access for 3 years in a row to his VCon. And that is a conference, in-person conference about business, entrepreneurship, inspiration. And so you get access. And then there's also other things like you get discounts on merch, and you're whitelisted for other NFT drops that he decides to do. But the biggest thing about it is that access. The second biggest thing is that they were issued, I'm thinking, in the neighborhood of for 1 ETH, and now most of them are worth 6. Okay, so what does that mean? It's 6 times value. Right now, I don't know what Ethereum is trading at. It was at 4,000, 4,100 last time I checked. But I mean, goodness gracious, we're looking at, $25,000 to $30,000 to $40,000 just by holding it from the summer of 2021 to now. So I'm not suggesting that if you create your own NFT utility token, that the value will go up 6-fold within 6 months. He's famous. He has a lot of money, and I'm sure he markets the heck out of it. Different story. Results will differ for you. But he is an example of a guy who's just created a revenue flow out of kind of the thin air. The reports are that he made $20 million off the issuance of these NFTs in I think it was June of 2021. Again, not suggesting that you're going to make $20 million if you issue your own NFT tokens, but I am suggesting that if you just spend a little bit of time, watch my video, which talks about what an NFT token is, why you need it, and how to do it. Spend a little bit of time, spend a little bit of money. You can offer more value to your community. Your community is going to be more engaged because they're actually going to spend their hard-earned dollars to buy whatever token is you have. And then you're going to be able to give them more value over time. And then the thought is, let's say right now you have 100 subscribers on YouTube. Well, what happens if you just work your butt off and you get 10,000 next year and you get 20,000? Over time, this NFT token may be worth more money to your community members. So they're not only going to have the engagement that it took to buy the 1 ETH token or the half an ETH token, but they're also going to be very thankful because they invested in you when you were starting, and now their token is worth 6 ETH. All thoughts are that Ethereum is going to be increased in value, 10-fold, 20-fold over the next 5-10 years. So it's nothing but a value to you. If you're going to have an online course, if you're going to have a fee for your Patreon, $3.99 a month to join the Ian Coursign page. I don't have one, but something like that. Why not issue it as an NFT? Why not spend $1,000 using Upwork or Fiverr, one of those guys, to create this own NFT token and then be able to offer value that way and be independent of all these platforms? You can say what you want to say. You can communicate how you want to communicate to these people that have these tokens. So nothing but an upside. That being said, so we're going to see a lot of the leading influencers in 2022 have their NFT utility tokens. We're already seeing it with Impact Theory, Tom Bilyeu's group. He's the founder of Quest bars, those sugar-free health bars. Well, he has a lot of money. And so he has also an organization called Impact Theory, which has an awesome YouTube channel with interviews and all these things. But he created his own utility token not too long ago, months ago, and they're already increasing in value. It gets you whitelisted to other NFT projects. It gets you discounts on merchandise. It gets you access to online events. It gets you access to physical events. Has a whole bunch of things. If you just spend an hour kind of brainstorming what you could offer with your NFT, you could offer a lot of value, and I think you could make a lot of sales. And what's the worst? Oh, Ian, I did an NFT utility token and I only had 5 sales. All right. Well, I don't know what you're charging for it, but probably over $200. It's probably over $1,000. That's a stream of income that you didn't have before. You still have the same utility. You still can communicate with you through your tokens. You still can offer future value to those tokens. I mean, it's almost like a no-brainer. And again, I have no skin in the game. There's no universal utility token dealer that I am a shill for. I just read tons about it, and I think it's something you should think about. All right. So we got LPO Gamer. Let's see here. Let's see his comment in real time here. Is Metaverse going to be VR? Yes, and it's going to be AR too. We're going to talk about it in another item in a few minutes, but yes, we're going to see most of the access being not only through your computer, but also through your headset goggles, your choice, or your mobile. It's going to be accessible through all those things. We got Hell's Rio. Thank you so much for being here. Will create decentral bank and their cryptocurrency debt. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I'm doing a whole video series on DeFi. I'm very intrigued by it because one of the unique things, obviously, I think everybody knows about loans, crypto loans. That's one of the reasons why crypto goes up and down, because people got to pay back their loans sometimes. So there's that. Crypto loans are great, just like conventional loans. But one of the things I'm really excited about is the fact that now you can be a lender. You know, in this world, there's just certain lenders. Banks are lenders, and there are certain lenders out there, and they have this accreditation that we can't get. But in crypto world right now, you can be a lender. All you do is contribute excess Ethereum. Let's say you're saving 3 Ethereum. That's your life savings. Instead of just letting it sit there and increase in value organically, you can put it into these pools, have guaranteed access to it when you need it, and not only get paid back in Ethereum for being in these pools, but also get interest payments for your money. So you can be your own lender. So that's exciting. And then, of course, there's this staking concept, which you hear all the time. And we got staking. Almost all NFT projects say that. We're going to go into it in more detail, but that's exciting too. It's kind of like lending out. It's the ability of you just holding and agreeing to hold a certain amount of a token from a platform, 100 mana, let's say, and being able to get more mana for handling those mana, be able to get first round access to land and all these different benefits because these projects want to maintain liquidity. So they want you to invest in their token, even if you're not using it day to day. So there's 3 different, there's so many more, but there's 3 main things that are exciting about DeFi coming out on these projects that I want you to be aware of. So yeah, Wells Fargo certainly will have their own cryptocurrency at some point, no question. All right, let's move on to, let's get this off the screen. So watch my video about NFT utility tokens. Please just do it. It's 8 minutes. If you go, Ian, you're crazy, boom, you move on. You didn't waste a lot of time. But most of you are going to go, that's very interesting. Maybe I'm not going to pay the $5,000 right now to invest in a NFT token development company. But guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a plan together that I work up to that. And my goal is in June of 2022 to have my own utility token. Just do it. All right. Moving on to the number 5 big change to the metaverse in 2022. We're going to start, this is a small one, but we're going to start seeing people with more crypto in their savings than they have fiat, than they have USD. It's just a natural progression. There's a number of reasons for it that we're going to get into a little bit later in this video. And I really want you to stay around to the number 1 because I think it's really going to change your life. Really, really important. But we're going to start seeing people with more crypto savings than they have USD savings. And I got to tell you, I have a savings account. I would say right now, there is more crypto in it than there is USD. Generally, so far, it's just been a better return on investment. I can't guarantee the future. I don't know what the value of Bitcoin will be in a month. People said, oh yeah, dude, it's going to be 100,000 by the end of 2021. It is not 100,000. Certainly Ethereum, we're going to hit 10,000 by the January of 2022. It probably won't. But I got to tell you, it's better interest than a typical savings account interest, better than a CD rate. So we're going to start seeing that. The other part is there's going to be more offerings available in crypto from the various businesses out there. So you're going to need to maintain on hand more crypto to do those transactions pretty fast. When ticket sales come out to the latest comedy show, you're going to want to have crypto ready to go because you want to be the first to get those tickets. When there's a drop of the latest Bored Ape version of NFTs, you're going to be one of the first people. You better not be converting your USD to Ethereum before this whitelist sale goes on. You better have it ready to go. So I see in 2022 a lot of millennials, especially, having more crypto in their savings than USD, and that's quite a change. All right, moving on to we're in the top 10 list, and this is item number 4 in our top 10 22 changes. We're going to see Apple with a mixed VR AR headset. You know, I don't usually like to pick out a specific brand, but this is kind of going to change, I think, the whole atmosphere for VR. Right now, it's a little bit clunky. We've already talked about it. You know, if you're using the Oculus, even the 2, I can't do it more than an hour. Hurts my head. It's the eyes thing. There's a lot of stuff that go on. I don't know how those people who work on VR do it. I actually asked when I was in the Horizon Worlds recently, I asked one of the Facebook employees, I said, you know, how do you do this? I mean, are you sitting right now somewhere with an Oculus headset? And he said, yeah. I didn't get a chance to ask him how long a shift is, but I mean, it's clunky, right? Well, Apple is trying to change that. This is just a render. We don't know that this is going to be what the Apple VR is going to be like. But what's good about it is there's a couple features that a lot of VRs don't really have right now, which is this mixed VR AR. Oculus has it right now. When you put the headset on and you want to begin to have fun or whatever you're going to do, you can spray paint your area, your available room. And when you do that, you can actually see your surroundings in black and white. Well, one of the biggest powers of virtual reality, I think, is going to be augmented reality, because I think it's going to be much more useful. It's going to be much more interesting. And so what this headset promises to have is both. It's going to have 2 4K displays. So one of the problems with Oculus 2 right now, it's not bad. It's actually pretty cool, but it looks like 720p or maybe 480p. It's really kind of not super distinct like we're used to seeing on monitors and things. So Apple's going to do 4K displays, and they're going to be up against your eyeballs, so it should be pretty clear. They're going to have eye tracking, which I believe Oculus has. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. It's going to have a see-through ability, which I like. It may be nice to be able to play this Darth Vader game, but be able to kind of also take in your surroundings a little bit. When you're in Oculus now, you're in it. You're just in it. So there are times I've done things where I've forgotten and I've started walking forward, which does change your reality in virtual reality. And I've walked into a chair. So it would be nice to know maybe that chair subtly is there. It's going to have object tracking and hand gestures. The other thing about Oculus 2 right now, which if you've used it before, is you have these joysticks. They're fine. They're much better than I would ever imagine. But it would be neat if you just literally put on goggles and that was it. Supposedly with this new Apple AR VR mixed headset, it's going to be able to read your hand gestures just by use of the goggles, which I think would make it more palatable to normies using this stuff. And let's see. And the one thing I will say, the rumors on Mac Rumors right now say that it's going to be costing in the neighborhood of $3,000. I don't know that that's true. It seems like a lot of money to pay for this. Maybe Apple's just going to do this, understanding that not a lot of people are going to be able to afford it, but it's kind of a proof of concept type thing. But a lot of rumors say that as early as June of 2022, and at the conference they have in May, I think maybe it's in June of every year, they will announce it. So just be aware of the fact that this VR AR thing is not going away. When Apple adopts it, you know that it's going to be a worthwhile product. They don't invest in things that are not going to sell, I don't think. I mean, sometimes they do, but rarely. And so does that mean to you? That means that for your brand, for your product, for your content, be aware of the fact that you're going to have to probably have a VR component generated at some point in time. I am getting fully prepared for the fact I want to get a piece of land in, let's say, the sandbox, and I'm fully prepared for the fact that I want people to walk around my land, and I want them to be in their headset, and I want to be visiting and interacting with you. I mean, right now, it's so hard to interact with you. I have a camera and a computer, and I don't know where you're at in the world. What if I could see Anthony Goodley right now? What if I could see Hell Rio out there right now, and we could interact, and I could laugh at your humor and that kind of stuff? I mean, that would be a dream. I would love it. I love you guys. So, and Jessica, we'll say hi to Jessica too. So that is coming out. So be aware of the fact that your content, your product's going to have to include VR in 2022. We also have number 3, which is the number 3 item of our top 10 2022 Metaverse changes. And that is the Internet of Things is going to have some huge changes. Now, I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this because it gets really, really detailed. But just understand that behind the scenes in a lot of products that you're going to buy, you're going to want a new toaster, you're going to want a new washer and dryer, whatever it is, that's going to have onboard Wi-Fi components. I'm equating it. I have Ecobee, which is a thermostat for my house. And they don't advertise it too much. They say, oh, it's Wi-Fi connected because that way you can see the weather, the current weather outside. That's the user front-facing feature for Ecobee. But the real value of Ecobee actually is the fact that it communicates wirelessly with Ecobee corporate headquarters and also your power company. It will actually say, I sense that there's no one in Ian's house right now, and so I'm going to turn up or down the air conditioning. I'm going to save power because there's no one here. And that is happening without me even knowing it. It's just going on behind the scenes. I don't ever set it. I don't see it. I don't see like a ding when it's sending the information. That's going to happen more and more, not only with your own private products, but also public products like traffic lights. I have a whole list here. Utilities, parking meters. Like the utility thing is the example of the Ecobee. It's communicating with the power company. But parking meters, you'll have your phone, someday your AR glasses, and they will just connect with the parking meter and say, listen, I saw that you parked your car. I know your car and I know your wallet. And so it's going to cost, 0.00001 Ethereum to park here, and you can automatically charge it. So things are going to be smoother, but it's also going to be kind of a little bit more disconcerting. You're going to have to get used to it because more and more things are going to be connected to the internet. Whether it be medical devices, whether it be on the slide, retail is going to be there, and then certainly automotive. That's going to be way. I think we're going to talk. Are we going to talk about that? Yeah, we're talking about the driving revolution next. So a lot more stuff with Internet Things coming up. Let's see here. Just want to say hi to Sun. Interesting. Thanks for joining us, Sun. All right, let's move on to our number 2. We're getting close to our number 1. I want you to stay around for our number 1. It's important. Driving revolution. This in 2022, we're going to see so much stuff going on with driving. And I showed a picture here of the Tesla self-driving. I think that we're going to see in 2022 a better version of self-driving in Tesla, but we're also going to see better versions of self-driving in the other automakers. Tesla was at the forefront because they created their own self-driving, right? It's the Tesla self-driving, but that's not the future. The future are companies that create the self-driving concept that sell it to Ford, to Hyundai, to Toyota. So it's kind of like the CarPlay for Apple. Apple's created CarPlay, and then they sell access to all the different car manufacturers. The same is going to be true with self-driving. In fact, Intel just bought a company called Mobileye for $15 billion. They're going to take Mobileye public in 2022. What does that mean to you? They believe enough in this company and its ability, Mobileye, to sell different automakers that they're going to take them public. They're going to take in cash and be able to increase that company's stature over time. So, I give a little short example. I have a Honda CR-V. And when I got the car, I just needed a small little car that could get me from here and there, whatever. But I had no idea that it doesn't quite have self-driving, but it has so many different features that are just like the Tesla. Like it has the ability to obviously control your cruise control and to slow down when the car in front of you is slowing down. It has automatic lights, but it also has lane reading. So for the most part, when you're doing your driving, you can actually let the car steer itself, at least on the highway. And that's very much like what Tesla does. So that's just a little Honda, just a little example of what's coming has already come. And now we know that it's going to be happening to every car for sure. We are going to see more autonomous deliveries. We're going to see much more robots doing deliveries. We're going to see much more deliveries, and then also we're going to see shipping. You know, one of the things, we've had this shipping crisis back in the latter half of 2021. A lot of people are saying, why do we need humans on these big ships? Why don't we either have them remote control, or why don't we have them autonomous? So I think that's going to increase the efficiency of delivering to our houses. We're going to see that. We're also going to see more AI monitoring of our driving behavior. I guess Bosch, the company, is a leader in this technology. They're going to start introducing to the various models, different brands of cars, this situation where they can monitor your face and make sure that you're not asleep while you're driving. They have all this new technology. So this AI is not only going to affect our driving to a location, but it's going to affect our humanity and our ability to perceive if a driver is sober enough to drive, if he's had enough rest to drive. So this stuff is all coming in 2022, and it's something that you should be aware of. Oh yeah, I love this. I want to address this real quick. We got Wayne here. Wayne, he's the last Wayne. Wayne says it's a pain to use crypto. I absolutely agree. Matter of fact, I made a video about it a couple weeks ago. You can check it out. It's all about how to create your own NFT, how to load crypto into your wallet. The video is 21 minutes long. Did not want to make a 21-minute video. I value your time much more than that. But this video takes you from soup to nuts all the way to protecting your crypto, protecting your NFTs using cold storage. And so it's a long process. Yes, it's a pain. Yes, it's going to get better. And that kind of leads us to our number one big change to 2021 that I think is going to influence so much in our lives that it's impossible to deny. So thank you, Wayne, for your little transition there. Number one change in 2022 for the Metaverse and Web3 is that Ethereum is going to the 2.0 version. You can relax. If you own an Ethereum, you don't have to do anything to be upgraded to 2.0. It's going to go on behind the scenes. But I got to tell you, it's going to change so much. Let me go through some of the characteristics that you're going to be taking advantage of in the future with Ethereum 2, which is slated right now, conservatively, to be available on June 2022. So right now, Visa processes transactions, when you do a Visa transaction, at 1,700 per second. So that's pretty fast. And I've never really encountered much delay in using my credit card. Ethereum 2 is going to process transactions at 100,000 per second. Does that make you want to use Ethereum over your Visa card? Maybe. But right now, one of the problems, I mean, it's not that big a problem, but one of the issues with processing transactions is it does take a minute, especially when you do big transactions. When I've had to transfer a couple of Ethereum to a wallet or something, or maybe put it on the exchange to convert to USD, it's a little worrisome because you go, all right, everything's right. I got my address is right. I want to do this, submit. And it's not like all of a sudden the exchange says, oh yeah, now you have two Ethereum on the exchange. No, it takes a while. And I'm more comfortable with it now because I've done this enough that I understand it. But especially if you're a newbie, it's a little weird transferring $20,000 worth of your money and not having an instantaneous transaction. June 2022, that's gone. You click on it, boom. Another change to Ethereum. Oh, one of the biggest arguments I get all day long. And they're like, Ian, why are you going in this space? You're destroying the environment. It takes so much energy to validate transactions. Yes, there is a valuable point right there. Not going to happen in 2022. We are moving to the proof of stake model for validating transactions in Ethereum 2. And when you move to Ethereum 2, guess what? It's going to take 99.95% less energy to process an Ethereum transaction than a Ethereum 1 transaction. So all that environmental concern goes out the window. I'm going to do a more detailed video on what POS, proof of stake, means, but it's going to be a lot more value to the community too. by merely possessing, and I say merely, I don't have 32 Ethereum, but if you have 32 Ethereum, you can be a validator of Ethereum transactions. I think that's going to make more people be validators. It's going to make the currency much more used, and it's going to make the currency much more stable because people are going to have less fear that things aren't happening. So that's going to happen. Cheaper transactions, of course, with this new proof of stake model. We're not going to be paying 130 GUI. I never know how to pronounce it. And I don't know the acronym either, too, but it's the gas fee that you pay when you do an Ethereum transaction. Right now, it stinks. If you want to invest in your buddy's NFTs, he's charging $20 for his NFT because you want to invest, you want to buy one of his things, and then you see that the GUI is $130 USD. It's just lame. And so what's kind of interesting about though is it's actually holding people back from using the currency. But come June of 2022, that GUI goes away. Oh, that rhymed. That GUI goes away. Not entirely. There's going to be some gas fees, and there are going to be still some miners that do Ethereum mining, but it's not going to be $130. These transactions are going to be moving at the speed of light, so we're not going to have that problem. The other thing is also, this is the other one I did not know about. I knew about those things. I didn't know about this, is that as a result of Ethereum going to 2.0, it's going to decrease the supply of Ethereum. Right now, evidently, the Ethereum organization is issuing 4.7 million more Ethereum per year, I believe. What we're moving to in Ethereum 2.0 is between 500,000 and 2 million more. So one of the arguments for Bitcoin is always, there's a limited supply. It's going to increase demand, blah, blah, blah. People are going to lose it. It's going to be even less supply of Bitcoin. That's a good argument for Bitcoin. Ethereum never had that argument. There's always a creation of more Ethereum, but it's going to be reduced with Ethereum 2.0. So that is probably going to increase the value of Ethereum even more. So that's interesting. 2.0 also is more scalable. One of the problems we have with Ethereum right now is that there's only so many chains that can be created, and it's that you have to use different projects like Polygon and what's the other one that I'm thinking about? Polkadot, I think. Maybe Polkadot. I don't know if it's Polkadot, but a lot of different projects to be able to scale Ethereum. We're not going to have that problem with Ethereum 2.0. It's going to be more secure and less hackable, and that's going to be beneficial. That's going to create people have more trust for Ethereum, and then we'll use it more often. So one of the things I always like to talk about when I'm talking about this crypto thing is that, people go, okay, great, Ian, all these proof of stake, proof of work, all these things, I don't care about it. How is the real man or woman going to be affected by Ethereum 2.0? Like I told you before, I think that with increased use of Ethereum, we're going to have more stabilization of the value. There are going to be people out there who are going to earn their salary in Ethereum. Would you like your salary in pesos, USD, or Ethereum? And you may pick Ethereum because if there is a market increase in value, it's more beneficial for you to take it in Ethereum. I do think there's a negative side with the more use of Ethereum. There's going to be probably greater desire of the government to regulate it. So we may have even increased IRS regulations. And there may be, income tax that's related to Ethereum. Right now, of course, you do need to pay tax on your income from crypto. There's a box that will be checked off on your income tax submission where you have to report it. But I think there might be increased regulation. We're starting to see that in Japan right now, which has increased their highest taxable rate for crypto gains to 55%. There's a whole story in that too. We'll talk about that later. And then, then we're just going to be able to, we're going to start being able to buy goods and services with Ethereum. Right now, it's funny, I recently was involved in a real estate transaction, and I was like, hey, would you take the down payment in crypto? Do you even do that? And the answer is no, but the future is they will. People will want Ethereum down payments or whatever for your house or your services. And then, of course, borrowing will happen with Ethereum. And then the other one that I really love is insurance contracts. Part of my career before this all was doing business and insurance law. And what I enjoyed about it was the specificity of the deal. But what's happening now is that these insurance policies are being converted into smart contracts. And the biggest chain that does smart contracts is Ethereum. So we're going to see a lot more insurance contracts be based on the blockchain and use Ethereum for that. So we'll see land purchases, more of those. We'll see car purchases in Ethereum, I'm sure. And then I think that you'll be able to, because of the fact that Ethereum will be more scalable, you may start building your business not on a website. Typically you're, okay, I want to start selling rubber duckies. The first thought is, I better create a website if I want to direct to consumer those rubber duckies. Well, these days you may not even do it. With Ethereum being very used and a popular currency, you may just create a DApp on the Ethereum blockchain, and that is your connection to the consumer base. So much more scalable, so much more features that you can offer your community, your clients, your customers. So yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a huge change that's going to come in 2022, and I'm super excited for it. Super excited that we won't be harming the environment like we are for a lot of the different cryptocurrencies, and it may create more of a demand for Ethereum and be competitive with Bitcoin's price. So it really could happen. So anyway, guys, those are my top 10. Let's just do a little rundown again so we can, the people who just came in a little bit late, my prognostication is that all tickets will be NFTs in 2022. For a little discussion of that, go to the beginning of our video today. Meta is going to get out there and try to corporatize the metaverse. Don't let them use the platform, but understand that you're probably going to be the product. If you use the other decentralized platforms like Decentraland, understand that your initial investment is probably the way they make money, and Meta is different. Probably going to see more groping incidents in the metaverse. Be aware of the fact that when you do join this community of VR people, it is a little bit weird. People do sometimes come up to you and invade your personal space. Be aware of that. There's lots of different functions like automatic safe zones or flipping up your headphones or your headset and getting out of it. DAOs, be aware of that acronym, Decentralized Autonomous Organizations. You may create a DAO as opposed to an LLC in the future. Influencers are all going to have utility tokens. Just be aware of that. We're not going to have these email lists where you have these long sales letters. What we're going to do is we're going to say, listen, you want to join the Ian Corzine community, go to OpenSea, type in Ian Corzine, and you get a token, and then you have access to my course, and you have access to my speech, or whatever it is. More crypto than fiat. Get used to that. When we're going to have more use, like we talked about Ethereum, we're going to have people out there who's going to have 2 Ethereum as their savings. And then, of course, be aware of the fact that in summer, probably of 2022, we're going to have a mixed VR AR headset. Don't be afraid of it. This is the future. Embrace it. Maybe create your business plan for your art to include a VR AR component. Be aware of the fact that there's going to be a lot more changes to the Internet of Things, and things you buy, as well as public utilities, are going to be functioning as a Wi-Fi device, especially when we talk about 5G and beyond as far as web speeds. Driving revolution, we're going to see more and more cars with autonomous functions. So be aware of that. And then finally, Ethereum 2.0. It can process transactions, 100,000 transactions a second, as opposed to Visa at 1,700. What do you think is going to happen? The supply of Ethereum is going down. What do you think is going to happen? That means that in the future, when you're creating your own business, maybe you don't take USD anymore. Maybe you only take Ethereum. Why not take Ethereum now and benefit from the increase in value, which is probably going to happen in 2022 and beyond. Well, guys, thank you so much today for joining me. I just want to say, I'm Ian Corzine. I'm a lawyer for creators. If you ever want to work with me directly, just go to iancorzine.com. You can go up to the upper right-hand corner. There's a book now button. You can schedule that and spend some time with me asking questions about maybe your future business opportunities, creating an organization, maybe a DAO at some point in time. Maybe NFTs, whatever, schedule that. Also, be sure there's a link in the description section to join my email list. I don't have a token yet. I'm working on it. I will. So at this stage, I'm still on the email list, and it allows me to stay into contact with you regardless of the platform I'm on. It also gives you crucial advice every week on the future of the metaverse. What things do you need to be aware of? I am not going to waste your time with lots and lots of BS. I'm just, hey, listen, they're having a sale of land on the Sandbox on January 21st, 2022. You have to be there by 8 a.m. You may want to do this. That's all I'll do. 1 line, 2 lines. I'll talk about maybe some big NFT drops. I'll talk about some new developments. very quick stuff, as well as talk about my videos that are out, which explain to you in person those things. So that is what's going on today. Merry Christmas. I so value your time. Thanks for joining me on a Christmas day. I wanted to make sure I got this out. I'm trying to be consistent every Saturday at 8 a.m. PST. And I'm just so thankful for your time. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next week.